I thank you for joining us March 13th, another fantastic Saturday. And today we are here with Ayanna McClean, Christopher George, and Melissa Pascal. Three of us today, we are going to be focusing on speaking about the growth mindset. But before we jump into that, I would really like to set the tone and ask, why are we all attending this session? What is your reason? And we all have one. Can it be that we are all seeking? At least I know I am, you know, deep down, because have we identified that deep down, buried inside each and every one of us, there's certainly a titan that probably does need awakening. Because I am sure that we at this exact moment are not all living our greatest potential. When was the last time that we were aware of our thoughts, our words? How many times a day do we say, I am, followed by either tired, stressed, angry, annoyed? How many times per day do we use that I am plus something negative after it? Recently, I'm beginning to understand that the two words I am in that sequence is high frequency words. God actually refers to himself as I am. Therefore, when we are saying I am, it is actually a prayer. It is high frequency. So this morning, I truly ask that each and every one of us, we step into our greatness as we speak about mindset, as we welcome Ayanna, as we set the stage for the title talk. And we have Allen, to yourself. Well, actually, no. Chantel will do that. And I would like just to repeat one thing. I am, and choose something positive. For instance, for me, I am peaceful. Konata, are you there? Ayanna, you know what? We start with you.
I am ready.
We're ready. Chris?
Yes, we're ready. So I mean, I once again, Mel, I will take it from you. I just want to introduce our panelists today. I didn't actually realize that another person that I know well, Konata Allen, is on. Welcome, Konata. So Ayanna McClean is an International Hockey Federation Olympic Games panel umpire. Ayanna started officiating at the age of 17 and got her FIH badge in 2005. Ayanna is the highest ever graded female umpire in the Central American and Caribbean region, a spot she took over from her mother, Cheryl McClean Franco. As an official, some highlights of her career have included the Youth Olympic Games in Singapore, the Pan American Games, and the Junior World Cup in Germany. She worked one of the last World Cup League final tournaments in 2015. Most significantly, her achievements as an umpire were in the 2018 Commonwealth Games Gold Coast final, umpiring the Vitality Women's Hockey World Cup in London, and in 2018, the appointment to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, which must be extremely exciting. She's also a part of the umpiring panel for the FIH inaugural Pro League competition. She's also received a full athletic scholarship for hockey at Hofstra University from 2004 to 2008. I also see here in her athletic bio, a litany of many accolades in past tournaments. Ayanna is also professionally she does executive executive and management and business development for multinational firms. So once again, I want to welcome Ayanna McClean to Titan Talks here today. So welcome, Ayanna.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
When I hear these things, I'm like, oh, that person sounds quite interesting.
Yes. Yes. So Ayanna, you know, I'd like to start off and just kind of get a little bit more background. You know, I see, so just tell us a little bit about yourself with respect to your career, and also how you balance, you know, a career that seems that you have a lot of responsibilities, and you know, this other passion that you have for hockey and for umpiring. So tell us how you all mesh that together.
I think I'm not even sure exactly how I did it, to be honest. It was just kind of a natural progression, because generally from going through just regular school, you always had school and you had extracurricular activities, and then you wanted to be social, so you wanted to go out. In my case, when I was home here in Trinidad, we going to Southeast, I would get odd jobs through my hockey club, things like that, to acquire money. So it was always a process of just fitting everything you want to do in. Even at university, it was balancing scholarship time, again, finding a job, even though I was on a full ride, you still want to be social and that type of thing. So you had to work as well. So it was balancing school, athletic scholarship, and any extra hours that you had went into, you know, go into any work that I could possibly find around campus, etc. So that just continues on throughout for me. So when I got to career life and I guess full on adulthood, it was all right. I want to still be active in the athletic world. Obviously, I want to advance my career, so I just found the time to do it. And in any interview or company I went into, I made it very clear where my passions lie. And it is in career growth, as well as, you know, maintaining that balance with athletics as well. So finding a different sphere. I was a player at one point, still pretending to be one now from time to time, but then kind of transitioning my opportunities.
That's something I'm really interested in. How did you, and I know this is a struggle for all high-level athletes, like how did you manage to at least with respect to your mindset, transition from the player to the referee? Because I know that's always tough. And I would just speak from my personal experience, you know, looking on the side, either if it is that you're on the tatami or you're in a water polo match, the referee is the person that you know, is like, oh, what is this person thinking, you know? And how is it that you rationalize that for yourself? How did that happen? You know,
I think it was a slightly easier transition to be simple because my mom did it. So even prior to leaving to be to go on scholarship, I had already started umpiring locally. And it always starts off, you know how it is locally, you're here for competition, an umpire doesn't show up. My situation is like, oh, your mom can umpire, so that means you can umpire because it's genetically, you know, it comes down through the genes apparently. And that's kind of how I got my start. And then I went away to school, and it was actually an asset on the field in school because a lot of the players really don't have a clue about rules. And I did. And in my freshman year, it got me into a lot of trouble because I would tell the umpires exactly where they made a mistake and where they were looking when they weren't supposed to be looking there, missing the first fouls. So I mean, my freshman year, I saw like suspension, and I learned how to, like, you know, use it to my advantage even more. And my teammates would come to me, is she right? Is she right? I'm like, no, calm down. She's right. Let's go. Let's do this. You know, do this and you'll get this score, like that type of thing. So it was one of those situations.
Yeah. It was like a double perspective. You had a player's perspective and an umpire's perspective.
Yes. One of my freshman years, I told an umpire, I'm like, I'm training too hard during preseason for you to make a call like that. And then I got definitely put off, for sure. Yep, one time.
I can imagine that. Because, you know, any athletes has that type of, it's like, what is wrong with you? You know, type of thing. So,
yeah.
All right.
So that coupled with actually knowing what you're talking about is never I could.
Yeah, isn't yeah? I could imagine that. I can
You need
imagine
to
that.
improve your position and you're off.
Okay, and so obviously we're there now. How you got to this point of being a referee, and one of the things that Melissa kind of put into the mix was this book, and I had never really explored this book, and we were talking about it just before we came live. But it's Carol Dweck's Mindset: The New Psychology of Success, right? And it's the first time that I've actually gone in and thought of mindset as these two polar things, fixed and growth mindset. So I want to kind of get your perspective of what you think about the fixed and growth mindset and how that applies to your career and both in sport and professionally.
I think one thing we discussed over, kind of prior to us going live was the idea of, it's obvious when you say something that's fixed, it's in one position. You decide this is who you're going to be, and this is where you're going to move forward, and there's no other channel thought. So as you had said earlier, it's like, yeah, I'm good in math or I'm good in English, and that's it. In Carol Dweck's book, to change that culture, or for people to overall, start implanting in young adults and children the idea of being growth is adding the word, a simple word, a 3-letter word, yes. So you mightn't,
wow, yes.
It's simple.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
I mightn't be good at math now, but I could be good at math later. So it's like when you talk to a student, it's like, you didn't get this answer right now, but you can if you do X, Y, Z. It's a matter of saying, I'm not ready yet, but I will be ready. So that leaves it open. It leaves it open for the next opportunity. It's,
I am capable.
Yeah. And it's, for me, when it comes to sports, it's like you turn around and said, no, I haven't gone to the Olympics yet, but that means that at one point I'll be getting there. I haven't, hit my $1 million target yet, but I'm working on getting these different directions to get there. And it's something you should impart not only on the youth coming up, but in every situation. When, from a career perspective, I was saying prior, when we hired at Coca-Cola, we'd go through everybody's resume, the fine-tooth comb, and you have all these stellar resumes coming in, and the person will come in and you'll put them in a role, and you will, kind of set them on a track that left them in this one place. And when other opportunities come up, you kind of forget about them. But there's always somebody that's stuck out that says, nope, I'm going to try this. Or they will finish the task at hand and then they'll come to you and be like, so could I try this? And you can see where their growth is going to be. You can see that they're thinking about the potential. And it's something for me with my career was, I had my team and I would ask them, so what are your plans? What are you doing? What's going on in your personal life? To kind of understand what their mindset was and what they wanted to do. And even if we're on a sales team and we're talking about, somebody comes and asks me, can I go and work in the warehouse when I'm finished with this task? It's like, of course, because that's going to be where their next steps are. They're not ready for the warehouse yet. They're not ready for distribution yet, but they're preparing for that. They're taking on.
So let me, so go ahead, Melissa, sorry.
I'm going to read something very quickly here. People in a growth mindset don't just seek challenge, they thrive on it. Mia Hamm says, all my life I've been playing up, playing with older, better, more skillful people all the time. And these are the people that we speak about, Ayanna, and Chris. And it's like, is that mindset that creates legends?
Yes. So thanks for that. Mia is a sports icon. One of the things that I wanted to kind of ask from you, Ayanna, is, and it's something that I wanted to kind of have on. How do we change? So this is the question. This is the functional question. How do we change our mindsets? Because one of the backgrounds, and just to give a background of what we were talking about before, because I think it would kind of open it out, is, and I went and I said, in Trinidad and Tobago, our small island, and you went to southeast Port of Spain. I'd heard that in the conversation. So we go in and we do SEA, And we have this essay and people get chosen for schools, you know, and you kind of get put into these little pockets. And then you're told you're this person when it is that you go to this school. And then when we're in Form 2 or Form 3, we get pushed into a certain thing. If you're good in sports, you're an athlete. If it is that you're good in math and sciences, you're going to do this. If it is that you're good in languages, you're going to do that. And I feel that what ends up happening in Trinidad and Tobago, for better or for worse, we get pushed into what Carl Dweck calls a fixed mindset. Now, I'm hearing from you that particularly in your work and obviously in your sporting development, you have changed your mindset into a growth mindset. I want to hear how you did that, because, you know, I think that it's foundational to how we start creating, you know, that energy of change, of growth within ourselves, either as entrepreneurs, as sportsmen, as anything. So how did you do that, Ayanna? Give me, I mean, it could be open or it could be closed.
I'll say, I think the thing with big changing into a growth mindset, or even just starting the foundation for a growth mindset, is kind of how we reward. And in our system and in the system in which you explained, you know, we speak a lot about achievement. So this person is good at this person achieved this is what they are. But now we have to think and kind of praise learning. And it's the same thing that happened either in my career, in my athletic life. It's the learning process, right? If we actually put more emphasis on, you know, not how well you did at something, but the fact that you attempted to learn something, that keeps that person more open. And for me, you know, when you talk to if you ask my mom, the worst thing she could ever say is, if you do X, Y, Z, I will give you, etc. And usually when somebody says to you that, it's usually something they don't think you're going to do, or you're not capable of doing, right? So that's generally how it starts. My mother learned very quickly. That's probably the worst set of words she could have told me, because if it's meant that I needed to go learn how to tie my shoes so I could get X, Y, Z, then I learned how to tie my shoes. If I needed to execute this, I was failing a subject. I would go back to that subject and make sure I learned it, because it meant that I was getting a trip somewhere. So she rewarded the process of learning.
Okay, the process of learning.
The process of learning. So you now move from just one, you know, like, I'm good at this, I'm going to continue being good at this, and I'm good at math, so I'll be an actuary, I'm good at math, so I'll end up being an accountant, like that type of thing. But, you know, the person that understands all these little bits kind of has that more so that growth mindset, and wanting to step and learn a little bit more and learn something different and understand. And that's how it is in a career. Most athletes, as you and all said, it's like, yes, we can play and we can play the sport really well. I was an asset to my team because I could play the sport pretty well, not pretty well, but pretty well. But also I had another thing in my back pocket, and it's, how am I going to persuade the umpires to be on my side? So, and it's something I learned. So I learned rules, and then I learned how to talk to the umpires. So anytime something 50-50 came up, it was coming in our favor. So it's that constant idea of always thinking about learning and rewarding the process of learning. My favorite employees or my favorite bosses rewarded the process of learning, being able to say, hey, you know, as I said before, you want to go and work in the warehouse? Of course. You need to go on an interview for another department, all right? The rest of the team will pick up the slack because you are looking to develop yourself.
Yeah, you know, I see it. Yeah, let me go ahead.
Sorry, Chris. You know, the process of learning will come with some stumbling. And our society, at least I can speak for my family sometimes, you know, it's a matter of, are you allowed to fail? Are you allowed to stumble? Is that, or must you be flawless? So this idea of being flawless versus the process of learning, you know, it's a huge paradigm shift for a lot of us. And being open and able to step into that learning culture, I think this is where we're going to develop amazing, holistic human beings. I mean, look at you, and that's literally what you're explaining. So I guess as parents, as guardians, as community leaders, as wherever we are in society, we all need to be champions of this process and not focus on the flaws.
Yeah. So there's this so there's mindset and effort, which is one of the chapters in the book, and there's this little summary that I thought was significant here. So Dweck had an experiment with little kids where she started describing them as helpless. So it's like a fixed mindset thing, and she recognized that the outcome of that experiment was that these kids would take, even if they were really good at mathematics, which was the subject that they were testing, would take a very long time to get back their competency because they were not allowed to recognize. It's like, oh, you just need to maybe change something or adapt or etc. And they say the Dweck's research found that what separated students who embraced or accepted challenges versus those who quit in the face of adversity was their goals. So if it is that the goal is to get this grade in math, and they don't get the grade, they're going to quit. But if their goal was to learn how to do mathematics, so it's the process, exactly what it is you said, Ayanna, they were successful. So your view is an exact line with Dweck's view, Carol Dweck's view from the book. So I just wanted to highlight that or drop that in because I find it's very interesting, and again, do you think that there's anything that is unique about your experience? Because you talk about your mom significantly. Is it that we need, obviously it is that you need an icon, you need someone to follow to be able to develop some of these skill sets, especially as a kid. But what is your suggestion generally for maybe those who did not have that type of maternal or paternal influence? Like where do we look,
I think it's really just like nowadays there's just so much opportunity out there to see successful stories and embrace successful stories. And a lot of the times when we go back to those successful stories, it is littered with failure. So, we look at some athletes that, they didn't get the scholarship they wanted, but then they worked really hard and then they developed a different skill. We talked about footballers who their position is defense, but they get thrown in another position and it awakens them. They try really hard and they're successful. If they fail, all right, that's not what they're accustomed to. I think it's recognized, and it's something I'm gonna take back from like my hockey experience and being an umpire. There was one point where a lot of our conversation was about awareness, recognition, and action. So, just thinking about it from that perspective, just being aware of your surroundings, being aware of your opportunities, and recognize when those opportunities have stepped in front of you. Recognize when it's time to grab and go, and then take action. A lot of times, you see people who are really skilled and really ready, but they're not taking action. Action is important. So while you may not have this perfect person to look up to, there is a lot of different opportunities that you see in front of you. From the lady in the market who comes every week selling all these different products, and her product line grows over time. You have a conversation with her and she tells you how to fix your plants, and now you are her permanent, purchaser. You go there every week and she's built and developed that with you. And you realize, wait, I've learned so much from the lady in the market. There's so much opportunity to learn that's not focused on just one ideal. And I think people need to start being more aware of what is around them. Where
self-awareness, yeah.
That's why I started the conversation this morning, Ayanna, with our words. We keep on saying I am, and a lot of the times it's followed by negativity. And then ask ourselves, how did I end up in this situation? Mind thoughts as you identify actions, awareness and actions.
Yeah.
So, what do you have to say about how we think in our words? I know that you have young, nephews.
Yes, you do.
You are amazing guardian and role model, not only for your nephews, but for so many young people in the Caribbean. What can you say to them about how they think and what they say and their awareness and their actions? How important is it?
I think it's very important. You speak it into being. And it doesn't matter what the speech is, but whatever you speak it into being. So if you continue with negative thoughts, you're speaking negativity onto you. If you speak positively about your experiences and your opportunities, then more positive things come to you. For this entire week at work, I was like, for the actually last 2 weeks, I'm like, oh gosh, I need to get this done. I really want this to happen. 2 days later, it's happening. I really need to get this call from this person because it's gonna be an amazing opportunity. 2 days later, the calls happen. So what comes out of your mouth, what you permeate from your being is what you will get. So if you permeate negativity, that's what you'll get. And I'm sure that's not what you really want.
Yeah. The last question. Yeah. So thanks so much. The last question, which I think should be on the live air, is this discussion. And they were some of the two greatest basketball players, So in Dweck's book, she does talk about Kobe Bryant and she talks about Michael Jordan and how both of them had this type of growth mindset. Now, I posed the question to you in the recent series by Michael Jordan of how it seems that even though you know that he had the growth mindset when he was a basketball player, getting cut from the varsity team when he was in high school, and then making it his sophomore year and then winning the NCAA championships and then again 6 championships in the NBA. And you obviously know about Kobe Bryant getting drafted out of high school and then winning 5 championships. It seems that there's this juxtaposition between Kobe and Michael, who everyone would put them in their top 5. Where it seemed that Kobe, God rest his soul, was satisfied with this process. And it felt like even though Michael had a growth mindset at one point, he got stuck. What is it you see here, between these two icons?
So I'm not running around here talking about Michael Jordan and his abilities and anything like that.
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's just I find it interesting. Yeah.
And I'm learning.
We're talking about the book. We're talking about the book because the book highlights this. Right. So I want to know, kind of what we had alluded to prior discussion was that while we're developing our growth mindset, we also have to remember not to fall back into a fixed mindset. So one thing with Michael Jordan is, like, as you mentioned, he was like, throughout his young age years, he was always chasing these different goals. So he was learning how to develop. And then he got to the top of his game and he got to the top of his performance. And he wanted to stay there, which is, not a fault of anybody. When you get to the top, you really want to stay there. So there was a lot of strife trying to achieve and stay at that, top pinnacle. But that now changes his mindset into this fixed location. I am the best basketballer in the world of all times. And that's what he wanted to remain as opposed to, if you look at how Kobe developed, after, he had as many successes, he transitioned into something else. He was content to learn over a new process, try something different. And not saying that it's not to do it. So, but it's also that learning process is like, yeah, I'm going to suck at this for a while, but I might be good at it. I'm not good at it yet. Yet, good at it yet. I love that. Not good at it yet. I love that. That's the thing that I'm going to take away from Ayanna. I'm not good at it yet. Just add yet to it. Yes. Yeah, go ahead, Melissa.
Yes. Melissa, you ain't got that far yet.
Yes. So, Mel, you wanted, because we now only have a couple more minutes. Yes, we have 2 minutes. Yes.
What one of my takeaways here is, not to get hung up on titles, regardless of how great you were once. I think that's critically important because we will go through life with acquiring so many titles. But as you said, it's transitory. At the end of it, we are going to pass and we're going to have to, especially in our later years, we're going to have to give it up all and literally focus on the soul that we are, on being, on recognizing that we are more spiritual than this physical state that we're in. So I think
character's fate. Yeah, character's fate. You're speaking philosophy to me, which is my thing.
You say it beautifully, and so that's one of my takeaways. And secondly, with Ayanna, it was recognizing that a home life was a process, encourage a process of learning, and that's one of the most, that's the reason, that's how we create and curate human beings in the earth that go out and become leaders, you know, in every aspect of society. And I'm so grateful to know Ayanna for so long and to see, you know, the amazing job she's having in every aspect of her life, because she's now passing on the process of learning to younger, to older, everywhere that she goes, you know, and that truly is a gem. It is beautiful to share that. So I'm so grateful for that. And as we wrap up, this flew. Wow.
Yes, definitely.
Just
Yeah.
listening at these themes, I can carry on, but unfortunately we cannot. We're out of time. But what a session. There's so many nuggets that we took away. Guys, we will be speaking about mindset again in our next session. I encourage you to go out and get the book, ebook, physical book, whatever, and really focus on what Ayanna said, the process of learning. Take it away, pocket it, and incorporate it into your life. As well as, let's gonna stay tuned for our next speaker, next Saturday, the 20th, P.S. Robinson. We're going to focus, we're going to be referencing mindset, of course. Yes. And
Ayanna, before, can you suggest a book? I am doing this with every single speaker. Can you suggest a book that we could go away from? So we obviously have Mindset by Carol Dweck. Do you have any book? Doesn't matter, cross genre. I want to put it on my list. Your favorite book, you know, could be.
So it's really simple, and it's actually one of the first books I read when I just started off my work-life career, and it's really simple. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Okay. I was given that almost like a punishment at work, and when I finished it, I was like, thank you for that punishment, and I gave it back to the manager, in which who gave me, and I was like, it will be a really good read for you as well. But it was just enlightening to know how you are interpreted, how you can be, quote unquote, more effective in all your relationships. So I would challenge any young person, any older person trying to figure out, you know, a couple of things. Just read it, take the little takeaways from it. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Stephen Covey. Absolutely.
Sorry?
Stephen Covey, yes, am I pronouncing?
Yes, Stephen Covey. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's a real old school throwback in terms of, you know, all these different ideas, but a really solid read overall.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Ayanna. Thank you. Yeah.
Quickly, guys, any questions? Any questions out there before we wrap up? Sorry, last minute, we did not engage the audience at all. We were so gung-ho.
Chatting.
No. Yeah. Sharon, Conetta, Tara, any questions at all?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Conetta.
Well, I just wanted to say that I've known Christopher for a very long time, and I really admired his ability to move into an area, you know, in engineering, being a lawyer, being an Olympian, and really excelling in all those areas. I really look up to someone that has that ability. So it's something I actually wanted to tell you. So I finally got the opportunity.
Thanks, Conetta. It's you know, a little bit flattering. My cheeks are rosy. I'm blushing right now. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much. All right. Any other questions? Tara, I see Tara there. Sharon, Philip. Anything else? Otherwise, we'd wrap up, and you know, you guys look for us next week. We're trying to make a habit out of this, a practice, you know, a ritual. And you know, thank you guys. Thank you so much, Ayanna. Again, you know, I am a fan now. I look through this, I'm like, amazing woman. So thank you so much. Yes. All right. So thank you guys. See you guys next week for Titan Talks. All right.